Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. I have great friends today. We have something in common. We shared a trip to Costa Rica, and this group of gentlemen here today are from the Rotary Club. My name is Magdiel Santiago, and I was so amazed to see how many good hearts we have in Goshen. I was previous to starting, we were talking about how Goshen is very different from many other places that I've lived. But without taking much time, I would like each one of you to say your name and tell me a little bit about yourselves. Let's start with you, Robin. I already said your name.
Okay, my name is Robin Yoder. I've lived in Goshen all my life and have a wife and 3 children and 5 grandchildren. And I spent 33 years as a licensed funeral director at Yoder Cult Funeral Home and retired just recently in November of 2019. So I've been a Rotarian since 1989, and that started in Concord in the Dunlap area. And now I came to Goshen, it was probably in the late 90s when I became a Rotarian at the Goshen Rotary. So really have enjoyed the experience. I followed my father's footsteps. My father was a Rotarian and had perfect attendance for 30-some years. Oh, wow. And so I kind of followed on his footsteps and really enjoy. I learned some of the songs at home. When he would come home, he would be singing "Smile" or "Row Rotary," just those kind of things he'd be singing by himself. And I just kind of always picked up. Now I've always liked to sing, so Rotary's always been an interesting group, a unique group when it comes to the singing and the philanthropy that they're a part of.
Excellent. And you were born and groomed in Goshen, correct?
Born in Goshen, 1955, yes, in the brand new hospital that was just built in 55, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Doug Risser. I'm a lifelong Goshenite. My professional career, I was a travel advisor, co-owner of Menno Travel Service in Goshen here. Got my interest in travel and things like that because during college I spent 2 years in Bolivia, and that's where I learned my Spanish, and that's where I got a real interest in international things, and that took me into my professional life. I retired from Menno Travel back in 2014, and at that point developed the building that Menno Travel had owned, which we now offer as rental space. And the second floor here is called The Exchange, and that's where we're located today. The first floor is rented out to Cressy and Everett and Soapy Gnome. And that's kind of my story. I have a wife, a son who works for Janus Motorcycles just right here in Goshen, 2 grandchildren. I've been a Rotarian in the Elkhart Rotary Club since 1999. So while I'm a regular attender at Goshen Rotary, I'm a member of Elkhart Rotary. My wife is a member of Goshen Rotary. That's my story.
Thank you very much. Well, my name is Magdiel Santiago. I am the CEO of Kaizen Squad LLC. I rent an office actually from Doc on the second floor as well. And we're starting this new project, the Goshen Chronicles, to share our stories, to find out what makes us be alike and find the place where we can meet together. And our stories, I think, they emerge, and today we're gonna try to share that, and hopefully we're successful at that. And I have 6 kids. That keeps me busy.
Oh, no doubt.
And go ahead.
All right, I'm Byron Shuttler. Lived in Goshen since attending Goshen College. Both my parents grew up Amish, and about the time I was born, they left the Amish church, and then we moved to South Bend, and I grew up there, and then moved back to Goshen for college, and then after college. So I work at Hertzler Systems, CEO there. I call myself the Alpha Geek, or a computer programmer, and I've been doing that for almost 40 years now. So started back when PCs were brand new in the early 80s. So. Just celebrated my 39th anniversary there.
Wow, amazing.
Married with my wife Gail and 3 kids, and been a Rotarian for not quite 10 years yet. So I'm a newbie within this group.
Thank you.
And my name's Doug Stanley, and I was a dentist here in Goshen, a dentist for 33 years, and just retired last July. And moved to Goshen in 1989 and joined the Rotary Club in 2000. Moved here from Wisconsin, where I served in the Indian Health Service for a few years, and just enjoyed living in Goshen. I'm married to my wife Kay, and we have 2 kids and 4 grandchildren, and enjoying retirement so far.
Good for you. Very good. Well, today we're here to talk about our trip to Costa Rica. I was blessed to be part of this trip. This is my first trip with the Rotary Club. Thank you, Doug, for reintroducing me to the Rotary Club. I am a member of the Goshen Club, and so we're here to talk about how that went. What do you guys remember the most? What changed your life? Let's say, was there anything that specifically caught your attention? Did you learn anything new?
Well, I would just say, just getting to know the people there, how appreciative they were of our service. But to me, what was one of the greatest experiences is giving the books to the schools and the programs and the entertainment that they provided when we were there. I just thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah. Maybe we should take a step back and can somebody help me? This is my first trip. I know that the Rotary Club has taken several trips to Costa Rica. And what are the activities that we have carried out throughout the years?
The whole program with Costa Rica got started when the club president, I think, was Diane Woodworth, and her son and his wife were Peace Corps volunteers down in southern Costa Rica. And they were saying how the kids down there just did not have any books in a lot of the rural schools. And so we were put into contact with Carl Dickerson, who ran a program called Give a Book at that point. And their whole mission was to provide books to Costa Rica, where they had close connections with the Rotary Club down there. They had a Rotarian that had a warehouse that they were able to store books in. Worked very closely with the Rotary Club of Belen, which is in the Central Valley there. And the program got started with providing libraries of 200 or 300 books that were already down there that we would assemble into packages, and working with the Peace Corps volunteers down there and the Belen Rotary Club would distribute these books to various places. And so there's a very close relationship between Peace Corps and Rotary. And that's how that got started. I was part of an initial trip that went down with Give a Book that was not Rotary. It was open to anyone who was interested, and a number had Methodist ties because that was Carl's background. And so Kathy Kripe and I from Goshen went down with an initial group to check things out, found that it was a legitimate program, a real need, and then subsequent trips went back distributing these libraries at various places around the country, and I was part of that a number of times. A couple of optometrists went down, and somehow that's how the whole optometry thing got started. I think Goshen Rotarians, Brett Weddle, and who was the other one? Jamie Stickle. And then Dave Kripe, who was not a Rotarian, but went down, and they started doing this in connection with people from the Indiana University School of Optometry, and then with some of Carl's friends who were optometrists down in Pensacola, Florida area, and it kind of grew from that. And then so we would work with the Belen Rotary Club, who would identify an area, make the arrangements, and that's where we started going down doing the optometric trips.
How many trips have you taken to Costa Rica with the Rotary?
Oh, between the Give a Book and Rotary, maybe 5.
Oh, wow.
So different areas to the La Fortuna area, down to the very south to San Vito, the Central Valley, this one. I think we did one other one, one down all the way in the Osa Peninsula. So I think 5 is what I've done.
One thing that I learned really quick when I got to Costa Rica is how many people from the Rotary, how many members of the Rotary speak Spanish. I didn't know Byron speaks Spanish, Glenn speaks Spanish, Doc speaks Spanish. You speak Spanish a little bit?
I
No?
do not.
No?
Not a
And
black.
you do
A
pretty
little
well.
bit,
You
yeah.
defend yourself
Some better
pretty
than
good.
others, and I'd be on the lower end of that. But these two guys were pretty good.
Yeah, what do you guys like the most about the trip?
Well, like Doug said, I thought it was. I just blew my mind when we'd go into these schools and see these kids in these garments that were, there were celebration garments, I'm sure, and they danced for us, they sang for us, they just opened their schools to us, and just really, I was just really impressed by the organization of the whole trip. But these schools just really, it was quite fascinating to watch how. I mean, they appreciate. You could just feel the love. They appreciated us a lot.
Yeah, there was so much energy from all these kids, right? Standing on one side of the aisle and then having us walk through the middle.
Walk in,
That was amazing. I have some footage that maybe that will help with that, but you can. But yeah, that part, if you can take a look at that, the dance, how they danced. And I don't know how long it took them to practice all that, but that doesn't look
my.
easy. But they
Oh,
were
no.
synchronized very well.
They were very well organized. Yes.
And I think in previous trips, we've always had that interaction, and it's a big thing for the kids. Well, we feel so honored,
Yeah.
and made to feel like celebrities. You know,
Yeah.
the kids have so much fun doing it, and I think it's exposure for them as well to people from outside their community. So I think they truly enjoyed it, and on these trips where we had the books, and some of us would sit down and go through the books with the kids. And
That
was,
one right there.
That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun for me to watch the interaction. That was beautiful. That was just
Yeah.
beautiful. Everybody just grabbing a book, sitting with the kids, having the kids around, just listening to you read. That was amazing.
And some of the books were in Spanish, and my group that I sat with, they just thoroughly enjoyed talking. I'd try to say the words, and then they would come back and
They would help you.
Yeah, they
And
would help me out. and
laugh
they
a
would
little
all
bit,
kid and
like at
laugh
you
each other.
trying.
It just
Yeah,
made
sure.
you feel very comfortable.
No, they are. Yeah.
One group I had, we finished the first book and they wanted me to read another one, so I had to go grab another one and read them a second one.
Oh.
Yeah, so I lived in Costa Rica hace muchos años, 40 años,
Oh, wow.
40 years ago for a semester when I was in college, and just going back and reacquainting myself with the warmth and the friendliness of the people. They have that dicho, that saying of pura vida, and it's not just a saying for them. They really live it. They enjoy life, and it was great to reconnect in that sense to see that a lot of things have changed in the country, but a lot of things are still the same too.
40 years ago, I can't imagine how Costa Rica looked 40 years
Yeah.
ago. I've been going to Costa Rica since 2012, and it has changed a lot. I mean,
even
the
since
infrastructure,
then,
a lot
yeah.
of new infrastructure, projects and stuff like that. The culture is definitely different than the Mexican culture. I believe that because they depend so much on tourism, they are more, used to having a lot of, foreigners come to the country. A lot more people speak English. You saw the volunteers. What did you think about those young people?
Yeah, the student volunteers were very, very helpful for me anyway, with my limited Spanish, to be able to see, and converse with them, and just be able to translate any of their needs or questions that they had, any dental things. I couldn't provide any care, but I could still do the exams and get them going in the right direction and explain what maybe their problem was. And without the students, who were just amazing kids and so friendly, but their ability to converse back and forth in English and Spanish was amazing.
Yeah, and these kids were like, 14, 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
And they just had a really good control over the English language. It just amazed me how educated and how smart they were, and they understood so well.
And willing to help. too.
And willing to help.
My experience was a little different than yours because I was doing a very unskilled thing. I was basically having kids read, people read off the eye charts. And there wasn't a whole lot of translating that needed to be done. And so I finally learned that I didn't need to have a translator there. I just taught them what to do and let them do it, and I stood back and watched. And I think they enjoyed that more than being an intermediary.
Sure.
That's good. So how did everybody help? I saw different people doing different things. I was doing most of the recording and being facilitator, but Robin, what were you? Now I remember now.
Yeah, I was the CEO of the eye charts, basically, along with Ron Miller. I just sat there and had my little pointer, and I would just, point at the letters and be told to move down and whatever. It was just very and I was struggling a little bit with my feet and whatnot, so they always accommodated me very well with chairs. And I mean, there was a lady that would come by, and she brought me ice water, a bucket of water with ice, so I could soak my feet because my feet were swelling. It was just incredible. I didn't ask for any of this, but they were so concerned for me, and of course the people that were part of the Rotary group and the optometrists there. I mean, everybody took such good care of me because I was struggling a little bit with my hip and my feet are not too great, but I just felt so loved. I mean, I did. I came back feeling a lot of love. The only reason I went on this trip because Doug Stanley promised he would take good care of me,
No,
and he did.
That's not true.
No, it is. It's very true.
You shouldn't blame him.
You can blame him.
In what position were you helping with?
Well, we had two eye charts going, so Doug was kind of on the one side and I was on the other side.
Right. And Doug, you were improvising, right?
I improvised.
You found a chair there that was old. And can
Right.
you tell us a
Jamie
little-
just said there's a dentist, Ronald, who was down there that I really didn't know about, but he said there could be a dentist, and he was great help. And so I took dental disposable mirrors, gloves to be able to do exams if I could do that, but I knew my what I could do or offer was fairly limited without dental equipment, a drill or anything, and just didn't know what I could provide, but went down prepared to do exams and consult with anybody that had questions or do anything like that, and distribute toothbrushes, which I distributed 180 of those, and toothpaste with them, and I took 180 dental mirrors and went through all those. So I looked at least 180. I think it came to about 183 people that I was able to do oral exams, and we could do cancer screenings too by looking in their mouth and see if they had any issues with that. And so at the time, I didn't know what I could do. But like you mentioned, there was a chair sitting there in the corner that probably was close to 80 to 100 years old that was dusty and took about a half day to clean up, but it functioned well, saved my back from bending over so I could recline the patient's back, and able to provide, some dental exams and service to them. So that made me feel pretty good to be able to offer that opportunity.
All in all, did you find that their teeth were fairly healthy?
Yeah, as far as
They take
dental
good
decay,
care?
they didn't have much problem, and most of it is this lack of getting their teeth cleaned. Just a lot of what we call periodontal disease or gum disease, where they just have limited ability to get to a dentist and get their teeth cleaned on a regular basis. So I would say a majority of the tooth loss in the patients that I was able to do the exams were from periodontal or gum disease, and not so much decay that we see a lot more in the United States. But yeah, they did not, a lot of their teeth were in good shape, and really there was only about 10 issues that we addressed and got them pointed with Ronald's help in the right direction, and got them on antibiotics and got them into a hospital where they needed to treat the infection.
Very good. Maybe that's another idea for a future project, right?
Yep.
Or give us an excuse to travel to Costa Rica again.
There you go.
Let's talk about the doctors, the amazing work they did, and the students from IU.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about
Oh
that?
my gosh, they were very organized.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they probably, a lot of those had been on this trip before, maybe.
Yeah.
But the young people they had there, they just had graduated. I think they really found this to be a great experience. What a great group.
Yeah.
It was just a wonder. There's not one person I can talk bad about in that whole experience. It was just amazing. And I think they learned a lot and got to see a beautiful country too while we were at it.
We saw 381 patients.
I was
in
just
that
gonna ask that.
time,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of people to run through, and the docs were working hard.
Yeah,
and
over a
the-
3-day
the
period,
helpers
yeah.
were working hard.
For a lot of the younger ones, they're so used to all of the modern equipment
Right.
that are in the in optometrist offices now, and this is getting back to the old holding up the individual lenses and using the lights and really old technology, because they don't have a lot. We didn't have a full optometric office set up there.
No.
It was just using the hand tools and that they had. So it was a good experience for these younger people to do that
Yeah.
in a completely different setting.
I think Doug, on the same line, I think anybody, and that goes for me when I was younger, but you take somebody in their early 20s, take them to another country, see how the rest of the world lives, like I think all of us has experienced. It's just a great experience for a younger person to see what we have available to us in this country and how other people live. And it gives you an appreciation for what we have and what we can do for other people, not only here, but in other parts of the world. But
Definitely.
especially good for younger people in their 20s.
Is that still a requirement from Goshen College, I think, right? To travel
Yes, to travel,
do some kind of service to different...
live for a semester in a different country.
Wow.
That's how I kind of got my first start, was in after my freshman year in college. I did a study service program that was kind of an experimental program at that point to Bogota, Colombia. And that's where I got my interest in Latin American studies and so forth, and then ended up going to Bolivia a couple years later as part of a different program. But yeah, it's, my wife went to Honduras. I know Glenn Stutzman spent time in Central America as part of a program, and
Ron Miller.
who went along on the trip, had been there with Goshen College. And it's a great experience for a lot of these people from especially smaller towns to get into settings that it's not just being in a foreign country, but learning how to ride a public bus,
Yeah.
things like that.
Now you mentioned Glenn, he's not here because he's in Florida, escaping winter here, but he did great, I think, in his presentation of the books.
Oh my, he did
He had a
wonderful.
speech, and he spoke Spanish. I didn't know that until I went there. He started speaking Spanish. I'm like, oh yeah, what? Speak Spanish. But he did pretty good. He gave us a small speech, but it was powerful. And then we had this guest from the Department of Education. He spoke English really, really good, and I think that part of the coordination that they did, that was wonderful. To have all the teachers participate, and the teacher of teachers, a trainer that was there as well present. I forget his name unfortunately right now, but I'll make sure that we put it on the video. But that was amazing. That was amazing what they did.
And the Lions Club, how they participated too, the local Lions Club that opened up that building for us to use.
And the Lions Club is very involved with vision worldwide.
Oh, they are?
So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's their big.
They do a
Big
lot
deal.
of the eyeglasses where they're donated and used, and they try to match them up.
Yeah, on this,
yeah.
on this trip, we didn't take down as many
Use glasses.
used glasses as we had in the past. I think almost everything was either new or just readers or sunglasses, that type of thing that were provided by Steve Pettit from his business.
I would like to see more of these trips, and I would like to see more people joining these trips. I think it's a good thing for us, more than perhaps the service that we give to other people. I think it does good to us to kind of keep us in context of humanity, don't you think?
Oh my, yes. Yes.
And I think for a lot of people, we often talk about, when did you become a Rotarian? And for me, I was a Rotary Club member for a number of years before I became a Rotarian. And for me, that was leading a group study exchange program to Brazil in 2006. And that's where I really had exposure to Rotary International and the work that Rotarians around the world do. So it's not just an Indiana thing or a U.S. thing or a North American thing, but it's a worldwide thing. And so I've had opportunities through Rotary to interact with Rotarians in Argentina, Brazil, Turkey, and so forth. And that's really a tremendous, it really makes you aware of what Rotary as an international organization is all about, and what the Rotary Foundation that funds so many of these programs is all about. Before that, I really had no idea. And I think a lot of newer Rotarians still don't think of anything about Rotary other than a regular get-together with
Service
friends
club,
over
yeah.
lunch and listening to a program.
Right.
And there's so much more than that.
Yeah, Rotary's work in eradicating polio has been huge throughout the world, and it's almost gone in large part due to Rotary's work with that. So yeah, we talked about the Costa Rican people, but yeah, getting back to the Rotary Club, it was so good to get to connect with these guys and get to know them better.
Yeah.
That's one thing I really appreciated
Oh,
from the
man.
trip. Like we talk about Glenn, it turns out, small world. When he was in Honduras doing service a couple years, one of my uncles was his leader.
Wow.
An uncle that spent a number of years in Honduras, and they were his leaders when he was down there. So,
Small
just
world indeed.
Small world. But to get to know these guys and feel like I've made some lifelong friends, as part of that trip. I mean, we knew each other before, but not really at a different level. So that was great.
I feel the same way. I just to get to know you guys better, and when you do a trip like that, it's just you get away from your comfort zone, your environment, and then you get to know people because you're with them every day for 8 days, and it was getting to know you guys and
part of
Glenn
it,
and
part
Ron.
of it is the the working together, doing the clinics and
Right.
like that. But then each evening, going out to dine,
Yeah.
we had some great meals,
And drink.
drinks, and like that as well. But just the fellowship that we developed and getting to know people in that kind of a setting, and then interacting with the local Costa Rican, the Ticos down there from Rotary and from Lions Club as well, and had great fellowship.
Yeah. And they threw a spectacular dinner last night there. That was amazing. And that was a lot of fun.
And their lunches were great.
Yeah. We didn't go hungry there. That's for
Oh
sure.
my gosh! I think we all put weight on, didn't we? I'm
I
sure we
really
did.
like the one. It looked like a burrito to me, or like tamal wrapped
Oh,
into
yeah.
a plantain leaf.
Yeah.
Campesino almuerzo.
Yes,
campesino.
sí, campesino almuerzo. That was good.
Oh my!
That
really
was
good.
so good.
Yeah.
And to service in that traditional way, wrapped in the banana leaf. Yeah.
Initially, I thought it was a tamal. I know the tamals wrapped into the banana leaves,
Yeah.
but it was not. It was actually a lunch,
Uh-huh.
and it was just wrapped into the banana.
Yeah, they told us when they served it, they said that they would give this to the people working in the fields, the coffee fields and stuff. And they would pack it in their bags and take it, and then that was their
That's how
lunch.
they
But
eat
they
it.
would distribute it before they went in the fields in the morning, give each one of those, and that's what their lunch was, working in
Yeah.
the fields. So that was just to hear the history, and it's just a great experience. Yeah.
One more thing before we conclude: the driver and the event of the flat tire.
Luis.
I'll tell you what, he was very thankful that other people were there to help. Let's just say it that way.
We had that bus so overloaded,
Yeah.
completely full inside and on top with all the equipment and books and people. And I think that they're just so hard on the brakes on the mountains, and it evidently heated up the tire and caused it to to fail. And
Something we'll never forget.
Yeah,
for sure.
And he was a great bus driver and a great addition to our
Oh, he
group.
was.
He just fit right in and was so fun to be
He
with.
navigated that bus in
Yeah.
places where I didn't think he could make a turn, or
Yeah.
it was just amazing control over that
And
bus.
thanks to Connor to have the strength to get that
Yeah,
nut
I
off
know.
there. Yeah.
That thing was not cooperating.
No.
Actually, it was broken.
Yeah,
because he
yeah.
was stripped.
No,
and
he
can't-
put all his might and weight into that.
Yeah. Thank you, Connor, for saving the day. That was good. Anything else that you want to leave for memories to come?
Well, I
Future
want to thank
generation.
you for having us here today and being a big part of our trip. I mean, you were the interpreter, you were coordinated things and made it run much more smoothly than I think it would have
Yeah.
otherwise.
we also
And-
provided an extra bus for transfers between the airport and the hotel in Alajuela at the beginning.
yeah.
And
My
you did a lot of
pleasure.
video. You did a lot of video. You
Yes.
probably videoed more than than what the videographer Dave did.
Yes, we will be sharing all that video with the team. We have a report out to do. When is that? In 3 weeks?
It's
April
April 20th or something like that.
Hopefully by then we'll have everything, including this, activity, including to the video, so that we can share it and use it as a tool to encourage, motivate other people to join us on these trips. Maybe do some recruiting for the Rotary Club. We were just talking about, how the Rotary Club needs some help in transforming and getting to reach other groups, demographic groups. So maybe we can start doing that.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, because we need the whole community, right?
Yes,
We got a lot of work to do in the Rotary still,
Yeah.
here in Goshen and other countries as well.
Sure.
And we need to pass that spirit to future generations.
We need younger people. We need more women.
Diversify.
More diversity.
Diversify,
Yes,
more
definitely.
cultures, different cultures, backgrounds.
It will only
different
make our
professions.
club better and stronger. Yeah.
I can tell you right away, there's a lot of benefit in being part of the Rotary. Meeting people, I think, is the biggest, the human capital. All the knowledge into the room and all the spirit of, it just transforms who you are. He's doing that to me, so I know that people will benefit from joining the Rotary, local Rotary Club. So if you have any questions or you'd like to join the Rotary Club, give us a call, send us a message, and share these videos. Anything else, gentlemen, do you want to add to this?
No, thank you. Thanks for doing
What
this.
is the Goshen Rotary website? Is it goshenrotary.com or .org?
I think it's .org.
.org.
We can put it on the...
Yeah.
Right.
But that's, and we're always glad to welcome guests.
Yeah.
Friday at noons at Maple Crest Golf Club.
Well, there you go. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. I enjoyed
Thank
this.
you.
Thanks,
All right.
Miguel.
Thanks for pulling this together.
Let it not be the last time. Maybe we should do it more often. we can, discuss different subjects, not just the trip, but some other subjects that we. Prior to starting this broadcast, we had some conversation off the air. I think they're good conversations, and your input is much appreciated.
Yeah.
So let's continue to do this.
Sounds good.
Yep. Thanks for
Thank
putting
you
this
so much.
together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.